We may as well get started. I like to go live just 1 or 2 minutes early. That way, when people come in right on time, they think they've missed a lot. In reality, they've only missed a minute or two. But in the house, we got Johnny Knoxville, MH08, Mike Torello, the Prodigal Stranger. Who else we got? 5914 SD. Good afternoon. And to you, my friend, Daniel Kester's in the house, as is Scooters Pops 71, and so on. Hey, Joan True, one. Miko Angel. Hi, Steve. Hi, Miko Angel. We got not bad weather here today. It's a little overcast, 62 degrees. Yesterday was nice. Yesterday was sunny and blue skies. Didn't get the cars out, but I had a decent weekend. The weekend before, I did not do a live stream last weekend. I apologize. But I hadn't missed one in a while, but I had a bunch of stuff happen on Saturday unexpectedly, shall we say, which caused my weekend to get crowded out to the point where I had no free time on Saturday or Sunday. So that's what happened. Dougie Doo, Steve Two Clue, Golden Silver, Brian Wilson laying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Hi from Brooklyn, RROT Wang. Awesome dude, 2255. Steve, what's up, man? By the way, you can find a version of Brian Wilson himself covering the Bare Naked Ladies song, Brian Wilson, on YouTube, although I could only find part of it. I couldn't find the whole thing. So I don't know if he did the whole thing or just as a joke did like one verse or something. But it's kind of funny because it's unmistakably Brian Wilson's voice singing about himself. And I'm always amazed at good songs that are written about other musicians. So I'll also throw on the pile the song Alex Chilton by The Replacements is a great song. But I don't want to go too far afield here. I am McNathan from Sun City Center, Florida. Steve G, good morning from San Diego. Expect rain here this afternoon. We might get rain. I think they're calling for it Monday or Tuesday, but it's a mixed bag for us in the spring. So, Rand Thompson, greetings. Isaac Bob York, that's so meta. Well, the sad part is that the song is no good, but if it's a good song about a good musician, there's not that many of them. I think Brian Eno also had a song written about him. But the song Alex Chilton by The Replacements is a great song. And I love The Replacements, and I loved Alex Chilton. So there you go. Going to try Yarritos Mexican Cola, says Dan Boyd. Johnny Knoxville says, I lived in Tampa. I've never heard of Mount Dora. Mount Dora. Is there a Mount Dora, Florida? And if so, is that one of those mythical mounts like Mount Clemens or Mount Morris in Michigan where there's literally no change to the topography? The Prodigal Stranger spent a week in Scotland recently. Roundabouts are now ubiquitous for me now. Ubiquitous. Love that word. Analog Designer J. Hello from rainy San Clemente. No car show today. Do people show up on the Sunday car shows as much as they show up for the Saturday car shows? Makes you wonder. Jones Man's checking in from the great Pacific Northwest. Jones Man is probably my friend who's the most into baseball. I believe Jones Man, if he hasn't yet, will soon have seen a game in every single stadium in North America. And I know he travels just to see them. And, I like baseball and everything, but not that much. Old Paint 71, it's raining in Crivets, Wisconsin. Is that very close to Frog Station, Wisconsin? Which is a real place, by the way. Darkwood 777, howdy, Mr. Lehto. Chief FC, hi all. Edgar Torres, Central Florida, high ground. Yeah, high ground is not quite a mountain, though, makes you wonder. Joshua Gibson, where's the beef? Where's the beef? Johnny Knoxville, roundabouts are insane because Americans don't know how to use them. Well, the sad part is when they work, they're wonderful. I mean, I love hitting a roundabout out in the middle of nowhere where it was either that or a stoplight. You come to a stoplight and there's nobody around and you're like, boy, we could use a roundabout here. But on the other hand, I've actually avoided, like I was coming down the road just the other day and I realized it's close to 5:00 and the roundabout up there is going to be jam-packed with idiots who don't know what to do. So I actually went around and went out of my way to avoid a roundabout because I know that other people wouldn't be able to negotiate it. Jones Man, baseball and aviation are my two things. Yeah, and he combines them by flying to baseball games. Keg4998 says that it actually is one of the larger elevation changes in Florida. Really? So is that the inspiration for it? Andrew Zupke, hello, all you beautiful people. And for everybody else, eh. Andy, New York says Mount Dora is in Lake County, Florida, about 45 miles northwest of Orlando. Okay, I'm not familiar with that part of Florida. I've been to the Keys a couple times. I've run around a bit near Miami, that area, but I don't know Florida real well. And I could never have gotten used to it. Viper Mike says, "Come on down to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, the end of May. Vipers unite." You know, I'm tempted to take my Viper on a road trip like that. I've done a couple road trips in it, but they've been in Michigan. So Mike Lackner says, "You mentioned something on a video that got me rewatching News Radio. It's your fault. I've got nothing." News Radio is a great sitcom. Phil Hartman was in it, of course. Joe Rogan was in it. And it was mythically set in a radio station. However, the radio station didn't really play much into the story. It could have been any business. But of course, that's what got me first watching it. I thought, well, I work in radio. You know, I should be able to relate to this. But it was very, very well written. And some of the characters were just unbelievably funny. So Jones Man says, "I do love that song Roundabout by Yes." Not my favorite song by them. I like the song Wondrous Stories, which was not a big hit in America, but was a hit over there on the other side of the Atlantic. Sarah KC, hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Chris Beal says, "I just encountered an idiot in a tall truck with mirrors that had extenders that put the mirror in my lane." Yeah, I've seen that before where somebody else has an RV and they put the extenders way, way out. It's like, I understand you might think you need that, but it's not right. Old Paints is Frog Station's on the other side of Green Bay, headed up to Sturgeon Bay. I believe it's on the Door Peninsula, Crivets is south of Iron Mountain. I assume you mean Iron Mountain, Michigan, because it's Iron Mountain, Ironwood, and Iron River all along the border between Michigan and Wisconsin. I've been to Frog Station. I rode through it on a bicycle. I kid you not, back in the day. Dan Boyd, 2-lane roundabouts. I've been through a few of those recently, and those can become a mess also because someone's often on the inside not realizing there's a second lane, right? Steve B, I'm checking in from Dayton, Ohio. Jason Brindmar, I just got here in a roundabout way. Darkwood says people don't like roundabouts because the name is so vague. I like to call them roundy roundies. Immortan Bob says Jimmy James, played by Stephen Root, was the gem of the new news radio series. He was good. And the funny part was they used to always have jokes about how rich he was. And he was going to build a building that was so large, somebody jokingly said, it'll have its own zip code. And he goes, no, it'll have its own judicial system. Joshua Gibbs says, Steve, please consider doing sick week or other dragon drives. Then there is the sick ward for folks who drive it and not race. Tom Bailey from up there in Michigan puts it on. I'm unfamiliar with virtually everything you said there except for the word Michigan. So if you send me more information to look into it. Yeah, Johnny Knoxville, Door County, Wisconsin, and I'm talking about the Door Peninsula, which forms part of Green Bay. I rode a bicycle up and down that in high school a long time ago. Yes, we had bicycles back then, a long time ago. Johnny Knoxville says roundabouts are for Europe. I've also driven through a roundabout on the wrong side of the road in the Turks and Caicos. So you really want to mess with your head. You got to tell yourself, I'm on the left side of the road. Now how do I work the roundabout? So there you go. David Sanders, what has the world come to? Don't know. Johnny Knoxville, you spin me right round, right round, baby, like a record, baby. Dead or alive. Great band. I had one of their albums. Jones Man says he's been to Iceland a few times, not for a baseball game. I assume they probably don't play baseball there. And when you rent a car, they provide you an entire document on how to use a roundabout and who has the right of way. And better yet, they probably warn you about gremlins and trolls and elves and so on, because there's a strong belief in magical entities over there. I'm not making that up. So Thomas Mino, did you see the plan for the peanut-shaped roundabout? It is in the Canton repository today. Are you talking about like where it's like a roundabout that feeds into another roundabout? So you basically have like almost like a figure eight or something? Although you wouldn't go figure eight, you'd go like that. But yeah. Okay. Jason Brindamar, I used to like Kevin Nealon on the SNL News. My favorite was always Norm Macdonald. DJ Gene, do you think cops sometimes abuse Pennsylvania versus Mims in order to intimidate people? I watch a lot of cop pullover, cop chase, cop arrest, all kinds of those videos on YouTube. And Pennsylvania versus Mims says that during a traffic stop, the police can ask you to exit the car for their safety. And, you know, the videos that I see are often skewed towards people misbehaving. But technically speaking, the Supreme Court has said that. And so if they ask you to get out of the car, you get out of the car. Then, of course, you get yourself to the next one where they're going to pat you down for their safety. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Johnny Knoxville, I'm going to Oktoberfest in September. Where? In Germany or in Wisconsin or in Frankenmuth, Michigan? Because I'm pretty sure that all of them have Oktoberfests to varying degrees of authenticity and drunkenness. Steve BM says you should make a road trip to Huber Heights, Ohio for the Alice Cooper concert and visit the new Buc-ee's. That's right. They got a Buc-ee's now in Ohio, not far from Michigan. I'm not making this up. I've actually seen things on Facebook going, hey, you in Michigan, you can now visit a Buc-ee's in Ohio. Blah, blah, blah. The peanut roundabout is an excellent design. The question is, will people be able to understand how it works? That's always the concern. Tyler Pasquale, a little late here. It's 83 in South Carolina. We talked about the Masters yet. No, I watched about 3 minutes of it yesterday. But I'm not really big into golf. I've only golfed 2-3 games my entire life. So Tornado James says Norm isn't bad, but the best one on SNL was Chris Farley. Oh, we're just simply about people who are players on the show. Yeah, Chris Farley is good. Chris Farley is one of those guys, and Will Ferrell too. To this on the point I'm about to make here, Chris Farley would do anything for a laugh, and so would Will Ferrell. And I remember some of the skits these guys would do, and I'm watching it going like, it's funny. But for the actor to pull that off on live television is unbelievable. So, Johnny Knoxville, Germany. Okay. I always worry about doing something like that. You go to Oktoberfest and you get good and drunk and you wind up getting arrested in Germany. And who knows what their legal system is, you know? DePaul 31, a Rocktober. There was always fights in different radio markets as to who first used the term Rocktober on the air. It's not WRIF Rocktober, it's WLLZ Rocktober or whatever, you know. Johnny Knoxville, Steve will not enter the state of Ohio. Well, I'll pass through it from time to time. I've actually got friends there, but I did drive through it on my way down to West Virginia a couple weeks ago, and it's a pleasant enough state. I just don't root for their teams, if you know what I mean. Oh. Yeah, Johnny Knoxville points out that Clark Griswold was the master of the roundabout. Hey, the Big Ben. Steve played Frisbee golf yesterday. You know, I played a lot of Frisbee when I was in high school, and I miss those days. I never played Frisbee golf. It just, to me, the point of a Frisbee is the fun of throwing it or catching it. And the second you introduce it into some sort of contest, took the fun out of it to me. So Old Paint 71, that 8-week restoration project is worth the 9 months it took when you finally get to drive it 2 years later. There was a section of Telegraph Road, and my Michigan peeps will know this. Telegraph Road, just south of like 12 Mile, that was under construction for the entire 80s and 90s. It was just never finished. And it turns out that what happened was different contractors went belly up and walked away from it. And then somebody else is like, well, we're not going to finish someone else's job. unless you really pay us a lot of money. So, David Person's Norm Macdonald was one of the funniest people that ever lived. I'll be talking to my brother out of the blue and just go, I miss Norm Macdonald. He'll go, I do too. Tornado James, if you want the funniest live TV show, the Carol Burnett show beats out SNL hands down. Carol Burnett was funny also. And Carol Burnett was one of those people where like she invented her own genre. Like there was nobody like her, you know, and extremely funny. And the cast of characters she had was also quite entertaining. Genetic Memory says, I've never been arrested in Germany, but I'm willing to bet it's fairer and more efficient than ours. Well, I don't know if you want efficiency in the jail system that you are incarcerated by, but I don't know. Oh, boy. Yeah, Johnny Knoxville, Ultimate Frisbee. Ultimate Frisbee, Guts Frisbee, and, of course, Frisbee Golf. Dan Boyd said it's actually fun to play Frisbee Golf. I mean, I can see that, but I'd just rather just take the disc out and throw it around. Don Jackson, you've been following the U.S. Supreme Court for birthright citizenship cases. Well, or the case. I know they had the arguments, but it's kind of hard to follow a case with the Supreme Court because a lot of people want to predict based on the questioning, and that's not always the case, you know? So when they issue the opinion, yeah, I'll probably talk about it. Mark Miller asks, when did every activity begin to include alcohol? I don't know. When was the Volstead Act passed? It depends on where you are, but there's some parts of the country where there's, you know, there's beer in the fridge, but no milk. And there's children in the house. Figure it out. John Welch is Jimi Hendrix at Mackinac Island. What does that mean? Is he playing there? If he was, I'd go see him. Brian L., I want to sue an energy company. I'm from Michigan. Are you interested? Well, no, I only handle lemon law cases. The question is whether you can sue them or not, because energy companies often in Michigan have some protections. They're a monopoly on the one hand, quite often, but quite often because they are a municipal provider that has a special relationship with the state, there's often limitations on what you can sue them for and for how much. So, yes, Johnny Knoxville drinking and canoeing. Twitter posts, who is that who does the voiceover, intro and outro? That is Heather, the Canadian robot lady. She is a woman who's been doing that now for, I don't know, 7-8 years. And I just asked her to do it on a lark, as they say. And she started doing it, and then it evolved to where she's doing outros also. Although some people call that an extro, but in all the stations I worked at, we call them outros. BT2280, have you seen the new ramps at Stony Creek? Are you talking about ramps to boats in or to get over something? I've seen ads for them on YouTube. No, I'm Stony Creek is it's a metro park in the Detroit area, not in Detroit, but it's out a ways, Macomb County. I used to go there as a kid, but I haven't been there in a long time. Steve says, I went canoeing one time and it said alcoholic beverages are not recommended. But when are they ever? Well, what they're trying to remind you is it's dangerous to be drinking near the water because there are a lot of boating accidents every year that they think alcohol played a part in, and a lot of drownings also. Tornado James, do you think the John Deere right to repair victory benefits others, or does it hamper because they didn't admit wrongdoing? It helps a little bit, but it's going to take state action or federal action. And I'm not sure that's going to actually happen on any large scale because John Deere and the other companies are so well funded that they'll be able to lobby against it. John Welch says he was there in 1968. Jimi Hendrix at Mackinac Island. Did he play? Mackinac Island's not known for being a real center of the rock and roll world, but Chief FC says, I recently learned that due to my great-great-grandfather leaving Germany after 1904, I've got birthright citizenship in Germany. Happy you're here, but it's good to know. I've often wondered about that because I've seen, but I'm too far removed. But I've known people who said that they could get their citizenship in Finland as well. Ethan Pawleski, would you rather have a roundabout or a Michigan left? Michigan lefts are great, as long as people understand them. But a lot of times you come to an intersection of several divided roads, like two big roads cross each other, and it'll often say no left turn. People go, how do I do it? You make a right, you go down 100 yards, and you pull a turnaround, and now you're just already on the road you wanted to be on. And people think it's stupid. They're like, but that takes so long because you got to go through the light twice. Yeah, but then there's no mile-long backup, and there's no left turn lane. So it actually works very well. So Michigan lefts I've not encountered them. I'm sure they have them out there, but they're always called Michigan lefts, and they're very, very well known as being a Michigan thing. Daniel Fiore wants to know who else here lives in the state of Illinois. Oh, BT says for mountain biking to jump off of. No, I've not seen that. I don't do any tricks or crazy stuff on my mountain bike. I like to keep the tires in the ground. Pyroclastic Volter. Saw you were live, so just dropping to say thanks for your offbeat reporting. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thank you for calling it offbeat. People occasionally accuse me of being a journalist. And I'm like, well, I'm not really doing journalism. But offbeat reporting, sure, I'll take that. John Welch says there's a jazz festival. Yeah, there's a jazz festival every year on Mackinac Island hosted by the Grand Hotel. But I was talking about rock and roll. Although I guess many people would have considered Jimi Hendrix to have some jazz influences. Chris Dope, did you hear about Norm Macdonald discussing his being in the booth with Bob Uecker? I've heard that story. He's got a ton of famous stories about, funny stories about famous people. And I've heard that one as well. Jones Man says in Oregon, a motorist can do a left turn after stopping at a red light on a one-way street. The same is true in Michigan. In many states, if you can make a right turn on red, you can also make a left turn on red if, in fact, you're turning onto a one-way. I did it just the other day. Where was I? Oh, I wasn't in Michigan, so it may have been illegal. Slackadelic says, I ran at the Michigan left when I was in Jackson last year. I actually quite like them. John Welch, also curious if Jimi Hendrix was with the Monkees when they stayed at Wynn Schuler's in Marshall, Michigan. Yeah, I know that the Monkees and Jimi Hendrix allegedly played some gigs together. I'm not sure how many, but that's one of those funny, crazy rock and roll stories you always hear. And I'm not quite sure to what extent they hung out. Yeah, Tornado James says the Michigan left makes the most sense by moving more traffic through the intersection than a standard because there are only 2 light cycles instead of 4 along the 2 directions to last longer. Miko Angel, do you consider your channel a mailbox? Like, thanks, concerned mom? No. I do get emails from people, and I mentioned when I get an email regarding a story, I say, I got this story, it was sent to me by so-and-so. But I don't ever say, like, concerned mom writes and says she wants me to answer a question in Idaho. Blah, blah, blah. My friend Danny passed last week, and at his request will be laid to rest wearing his Jimi Hendrix t-shirt. I'm sorry for your loss, and I respect that they do that for him. Don't forget that Bob Marley was buried with his guitar and a big old cigarette. Jennifer Guy here in Georgia, you can also do a U-turn on red if the way is clear. Yeah, I'm always leery of driving in other states because you don't know like what kind of crazy things may or may not be legal. John Zablak, bib, bike shorts or not? Yeah, I'm not big into the racing or biking gear. There's a lot of that stuff you can get, and I trust me, aerodynamics is not my biggest concern. I do have bike shorts, that are a little more comfortable. but I'll ride my bike wearing shorts and a t-shirt all day long and twice on Sunday. I don't care. Teddy Boragina says, hey, Steve, watched your second channel video earlier. I'm curious about the yellow thing. The yellow thing he's talking about is right there on the set, right? It's so hard to do this backwards, right there. And it is a connector that I found in the briefcase of Bill Carey, given to me by his daughter. And I recognized it as a connector to a thermocouple on the turbine engine in a turbine car. And so the last turbine car I saw was actually at the Stahl Museum, but I also saw Jay Leno's turbine car not long before that. And Jay's car's got 2 or 3 thermocouples on it, and the thermocouple is connected using one of those. And so that's what that is. So if you want to know more about it, I can answer a little bit more, but I don't know enough about, the electronics of it. By the way, I do have a green cup today, sort of matches, but I haven't broken it out yet. Sig226 points out that Davy Jones of the Monkees died on Leap Day of 2012. Yeah, I remember that. I think he was living in Florida at the time, too, wasn't he? Brian Wilson, what's your favorite card game? I don't play a lot of cards. In fact, I haven't played a card game in forever. Arts 4014 likes the turbine plaque, and of course, the turbine plaque is that thing right there. It's also given me by Bill Carey's daughter, and it's got a picture of Bill Carey and a turbine emblem inside of it. Rockwolf Designs, you couldn't even say double. What's wrong with double? When did I not say double? Or are you talking to somebody else? Arts 4040, the thermocouple is connected to the leg bone. I believe there is a thermocouple on Jay's car that's attached to the air cleaner air box, but I don't think that that's standard on the other turbine cars. But Jay's turbine car was configured slightly different because his car was being used at the proving grounds to run tests on after the program ended. John Zabelak, has anybody ever taken an ocean cruise like New York to London? No, I've taken a bunch of cruises like around the islands and stuff, but I've never like taken one trying to get someplace. Every cruise I went came back to where it started. Tom Tampa, you ever find your mini bike? Not yet, still working on it. But as we're getting into riding weather, although I'll ride a mini bike year round, I don't care. It's gonna be just up and down my driveway than around my property. I am something says the frames of the glasses that got crushed when I face planted were completely replaced by insurance. Okay. PJ's Buell says YouTube is raising its prices again. They charged enough already. I canceled my subscription. Yeah, I got that note also to get the YouTube premium or whatever they call it went up. And, they do offer a lot of stuff. I mean, they got all kinds of movies and stuff. In fact, I meant to mention, I've got it in my hand here, that there's a documentary I highly recommend. You guys know I love the band Blue October out of Texas. They have a documentary. I don't think I've ever mentioned it here before, called Get Back Up. And the documentary is all about the struggles the band had early on and the struggles that Justin Furstenfeld, largely self-inflicted on himself, but managed to get through, and how they got to be where they are today. And it's called Get Back Up. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And I love stories about rock and roll. I love documentaries. And there's a lot of really cool stuff in that video, especially if you like their music. Blue October, I love the band. I talk about them all the time. But if you get a chance, for instance, it's on YouTube Premium. I think you can see it. You can rent it there or watch it there. It's also available on like HBO Max and so on. But Get Back Up. There you go. Brian Wilson, you tried a one wheel. It's been a while, but I used to own a unicycle. And I used to be able to ride one. I rode it all over the place. I used to ride at the store and back, but haven't ridden one in a while. Not sure if I'd really want to try one right about now because I'm a little too old to fall from that height and hope I don't break something. Belios says I'm late. I was listening to Casey Kasem, an American Top 40. What was that on Sirius? But they just played Disco Lucy, the disco version of the I Love Lucy theme. You can hear Casey Kasem replays. I'm not sure anywhere else, but you can hear them on Sirius. And it's always fun to listen to because, the songs that were in the top 5 and 10, you'll always recognize. But occasionally songs would get into the 30s or even into the 20s that just disappeared and you never heard of them since. And to hear them play it now, you're like, whoa, I forgot about that one. So Arts 4014 unicycle while yo-yoing. I'm not sure if I ever did that, although I could have. There's no reason you couldn't do that. You get to the point on a unicycle where you're as good as you'd be on a bicycle no-handed, which is not that big of a deal, especially when you're younger. And you don't mind falling down once in a while, Belios' Casey Kasem is on one of the classic rock radio stations here in Nashville. Really? Because the crazy thing about that is that the top 40 can cover anything. There could be country songs in there. There could be rock and roll songs in there. There could be, goofy, songs in there. Teddy Boragina, do you know how to juggle? I can juggle 3 things. If I had 3 baseballs, I can juggle 3. I can't do 4. I can do 3. Never tried to get up to 4. Darkwood, isn't Casey Kasem buried in Sweden? I believe you are correct. At least that's the story. The crazy part about his life was that very, very late in life, there was some squabbles in the family. And when he passed away, I believe his widow took him elsewhere for burial. Discussions with Ekmel. Did you see my email about Taco Bell kiosks having terms of use that involve arbitration? I checked McDonald's and Burger King. They have no terms of use on their main screen currently. Thoughts? I don't recall if I saw your email or not, but I get several hundred emails a day. But it wouldn't surprise me. The question is whether it's enforceable. And the real question is when you go to court and you're suing Taco Bell for whatever reason, and quite frankly, eating at Taco Bell is what lawyers would call assumption of the risk, but I digress. Whether or not somebody could meaningfully read the terms of service at a kiosk while people are standing behind them waiting to order, I don't know if that would hold up or not, but darn well they would. 182 QF QK FTW. Try juggling 3 girlfriends. Yeah, 3 is tough. 2, it's doable, but 3 is tough. Teddy Boragina, and I'm picturing a video. Steve Lehto juggles while unicycling and talking about the Chrysler Turbine car. Yeah, talk about clickbait. Super Duper Cooper says I listen to AT40 every weekend, 70s on Saturday and 80s on Sunday here in Bloomington, Indiana. So a local radio station? Because again, I understand that they would do it. It'd be popular. But if I was a program director and I was running a rock station, I wouldn't play AT40 in the weekends for fear they'd play, Kenny Rogers or something. And people tuning their dial around and go, why is this station playing Kenny Rogers? They wouldn't care that it's part of a countdown. So Joe Lontrue says he had no will, probably referring to Casey Kasem. Yeah, and the question always is your last wishes with respect to your burial. You often hear about fights over that, and it's so sad. Yeah, Darkwood says, sounds familiar, who's married to the actress who played a ditzy blonde on Cheers. She's also very tall. I believe she's about 1.5 feet taller than he was. Oh, it's Norway. Isaac Bob York. Kasem was going to be buried in Oslo, Norway. Gene Kasem had him interred at Oslo Western Civil Cemetery more than 6 months after his death. And there was a whole fight. I remember that about where is his body? Where, it's wild. It's wild. Sig226 also points out that Casey Kasem's widow is an actress. Jones Man, they played a syndicated version of AT40 at various stations. And like I said, it's just strange because the formatting of this show would vary so wildly. Coward of the County. If you're a rock and roll station, you don't want to play that song. Mark Miller, you need a woman who cleans the house, is romantic, and make lots of money. The trickiest part is the three of them can't know each other. W.L. Park, my sister wanted to be buried with a Whopper in her hand. From Burger King, I hope? Janitor Bob, the local easy listening station here, switched to rock format 2 years ago. Sure sign of the apocalypse. I remember there was an easy listening station in Detroit. I think it was WJOI, Joy Radio. And they changed to a rock format. And then, of course, WLLZ, which is one of the bumper stickers I've got on my set, was a rock and roll station that had been a religious FM station. And the owners sold them for a ton of money to a huge corporation. It flipped the format to rock and roll. And the first day they were on the air, lightning struck their broadcast tower and knocked them off the air. And people actually thought, yep, that's a sign from God. God's angry. Well, he should have taken it the whole station and just not just the tower. Jay Klein, I told my kids I want to be cremated and dump my ashes in the Ohio River. They said they wouldn't do that. What, out of respect for your ashes? Twilight. I remember listening to AT40 on the Buzzard in Cleveland when I was a teen. Yeah, when it was current, it made a little more sense. And then, of course, later on, he actually had different versions, and other people did them also. So there was a country countdown and an adult contemporary countdown. But it would make sense to me if you were a popular music station to do AT Top 40 and know that they're going to play some songs that you might not play during the week. That's okay. But I'm just saying to have it in reruns. When somebody hears, like I said, Coward of the County on a station that would never play that kind of music ever, people are gonna go, what? And it would just be jarring. Sig226, they should have played Hell's Bells. I believe that may have been the song. They were playing AC/DC at the time. Dan Boyd, the classic rock station here, started playing shortened versions of songs with the solos cut out. What? That's crazy. Now you say you're waiting for them to start speeding up the songs. They were doing that a long time ago. Believe it or not, in the 1960s, radio stations would actually take a song that was a 45 and speed it up 1 or 2%. And by doing that, you could shave just enough time off the songs where you could fit more songs in, but also it made the other stations playing those songs sound slow. And it's a psychological thing. I kid you not. It's one of those things that would really annoy you once you realized it. But cutting pieces of the songs out is a sin. It's a sin. So if we're talking about a classic rock station and they play, let's get back to Jimi Hendrix, and he plays All Along the Watchtower. That solo is the best part of the song. Okay? Don't get me wrong, I like the whole song, but what's your favorite part, Steve? The solo. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Johnny Knoxville didn't care for the gambler. Got to know when to fold them. And he also says you don't count your money when you're at the table. So what? I'm supposed to guess? I think I got enough to quit. Oh. Chris Beal remembers listening to AT Top 40 in case Kasem got a letter from someone who's getting out of prison requesting Diana Ross's I'm Coming Out. I can think of some worse uses of that song. But the funny thing is, I ran the board for AT40 for a while. I had to sit there and listen to it, pay attention to when the breaks were and stuff. And notoriously, there was a time when I Want to Know What Love Is by Foreigner was requested like every other weekend for the dumbest reasons. And it'd be, Dear Casey, our family had a poodle named Noodles. And Noodles was playing in the yard the other day with our child. And Noodles ran into the road, got run over by a steamroller, crushed to death in front of our child. And our whole family is distraught. Could you please play I Want to Know What Love Is by Foreigner? Like, what? What's it got to do with anything? Telex1594, law student from California here. Enjoy your content. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I went to law school in California. Diana Fiore says solos are narcissistic. Well, no one's ever accused a rock star of being narcissistic, have they? It depends. Solos are part of a song. There's a song structure, and there's usually a point in the song where there's a solo, and then they go to the end of the song. Texas Man the Legend. Hey, Steve, big fan. I made my wife watch your video with Jay Leno regarding the Chrysler Turbine car yesterday. Watch this or else. Well, thank you. I'll take the views any way I can get them. Dan Boyd says they speed the songs up during a live performance. It's different, and it can be showcasing their virtuosity. I've seen a couple bands that have completely reconfigured songs for a live show where it worked and where it didn't work. Teddy Boragina, rest in peace, Noodles. Oh, boy. Johnny Knoxville says Alex Lifeson's solos and Rush songs are amazing. Oh, David Peterson, The Living Years. That one got a lot of requests too. PJ's Buell, is that a reference to a motorcycle? I'm curious. Do you think McDonald's will exist very much longer? I think the quality and value sucks these days. 30 years ago was a good place to eat. Now they are the dumps. I actually went to a McDonald's drive-through and I ordered that new hamburger, like the Arch or something. It was horrible. It's horrible. But otherwise, they are still extremely consistent from store to store. They're expensive, but they're still consistent. So I don't know. I think they'll be around for a while. Stan is 265 radio edit version of Smooth removes a portion of the intro and the beginning of the solo. There are some songs with really long intros that radio stations would cut the intros off of, but that was accepted by the record companies because they knew that if a song is 5 minutes long but has a 45-second intro, if there's a logical place to cut the intro, they know they're going to get airplay without it, but not with it. So why not? Johnny Knoxville says Motley Crue always plays Live Wire at like twice the speed. Do they really? Kickstart my heart. Texas Man the Legend jokes and says, when I say I made her, it's because my special interests are cars and the law. But she tolerates me. Oh, boy. Mike Terrello, except for the nuggets. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the chicken nuggets. No one knows what those are. Not even McDonald's. Oh. Super Duper Cooper said, I just heard a long live version of 25 or 6 to 4. And it was amazing. I admire Chicago. Again, virtuosity and all that. But 25 or 6 to 4, not the greatest title for a song, but okay. Saturday in the park. I think it was the 4th of July. Yeah, Johnny Knoxville points out McDonald's can't keep those prices low when diesel prices go up. And right now, every fast food restaurant's dealing with that. I went to a Five Guys a couple weeks ago. I'm not kidding you. I took a $50 bill out of my wallet and I was about to say, can you break that? And I realized that the bill was $47. 2 meals, $47 at Five Guys. You can call me Al. I know you like good food. Have you tried Alessi's Balsamic Reduction? No, I have not. Never heard of it. Andy New York says that according to a Led Zeppelin biography, Stairway to Heaven was edited down from almost 8 minutes to 5:30 for the hopes of radio airplay, but never got aired on the stations like Top 40 and so on. That's possible. I've actually played that song on the radio. I worked at a station that played all kinds of stuff, and I played it once or twice. So Jeremy Hubbard's a big fan. Do this more. What, live streams or just hang out on YouTube? MH08's last Big Mac I bought was at a SeaTac airport. It was picture perfect. Should have taken a snapshot. Looked better than the ad. Yeah, I've got no complaints about McDonald's quality except for, like I said, that new burger. I wasn't sure what to expect though, but it was just a mess. I just like, nope, never again. Stick with the tried and true. 182QKFTW went into a McDonald's and the lady tells me from behind a register I have to use the kiosk. Yeah, and that's annoying. That's the one thing I don't like about McDonald's is that each store is run differently. Some have kiosks, some do not. And I actually went to a McDonald's not so long ago, and the person behind the counter said, "Is this for here or to go?" I said, "For here." And she handed me one of those little number things that you put on your table. She goes, "Have a seat. We'll bring the food to you." And I'm just sitting there. And all of a sudden I realize that there's nobody bringing food to anybody. So I get over and I walk up the counter and there's like 7 bags of food there. And I dig through and I find my bag of food. It's you've got to train your employees to actually pretend they care. Just pretend you care. Okay. Josh sees so it's either 335 or 354. That's one interpretation. CAG 4998. Did you see that McDonald's CEO called the items products, not food? Yeah, that's just bad PR. I know he also try to eat one on camera, which never looks good. But I mean, it is a product. They sold it and it's sold at stores. They call it restaurant stores. But Jerry Dodge checking in from Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo, one of those fun towns to say. $56 Spook Dog. What was your favorite bathroom break song? I only worked at one radio station where there was actually a question of whether you could make it there and back on a typical song. So it usually just depends on what was in the rotation at the time. And by the way, that was at a country station. I don't even remember now. But like the last radio station I worked at before I went to law school, literally the studio door was, I think, 3 large steps from the men's room. Okay. So you could just step, and you're in there, So it didn't matter. You can call me Al. Have you ever eaten at the Heart Attack Grill? No, I've not. MH08 says, I was listening to AI voices to use in a phone system, and one voice said, "I'm perfect if you want somebody that sounds like they really care." Johnny Knoxville is going to die on this hill. Bring back the cheddar melt. Bring back the cheddar melt. Oh, Jeremy Hubbard says more live streaming. Well, I do the live stream almost every Sunday at 1:00, and I try once in a while to do one in the afternoon or evening on the main channel also. It's been a little while, but I'll try that one of these days. Lock Watcher says an 81-year-old, and I saw the story, 81-year-old Los Angeles Dodgers season ticket holder for 50 years was effectively barred from games due to a mandatory all digital ticketing policy requiring a smartphone. And, you'd think that as a favor to him, they'd print up some tickets for him. Come on. I've got, a smartphone, and a lot of the shows I go to now, they've got the ticket on your phone. And I'd like to have the souvenir tickets. I like those. But also, I've been at a venue when the system crashed. And I mentioned a while back, I went and saw Ministry and Frontline Assembly and Gary Newman at the Royal Oak Music Theater, and the system crashed right as I was walking in, and it was a nightmare. They straightened it out. Sports says I had to wait 30 minutes for a single McDonald's cheeseburger. Did you really? Yeah, I've always tried, like, if there's a big line, I'll try to order something I know is going to be easier. Because you ordered one of the wacky quarter pounders. It's like, yeah, pull forward, please. Pull forward. Root 32879 says you should get your amateur radio license. I was an amateur radio for so long, Oh. Tom Segerson, have you ever had a meal at Detroit 75 Kitchen? No, I've never heard of it. Is it on 75? Is it in Detroit? Sorry, I've never heard of it. John Zablik points out that amateur radio does not pay. I am McNathan says that I rarely heard the original 17-minute version of Inagata Davida by Iron Butterfly unless the DJ needed a smoke break. Yeah, that's one of the funniest stories of all time because Inagata Davida, in case you didn't know, is a drunken rendering of the phrase "in the Garden of Eden." And Iron Butterfly, of course, recorded that song, and their jam-filled version is 17 minutes long. I believe it's the entire side of an LP. And when people started playing it, they go, "This song's kind of catchy. Maybe we could put it on the air." And I think they had a shorter version, or maybe more than one shorter version of it. But yeah, that happens. You got a great song, but it's a little too long to squeeze that into top 40 radio. The prodigal stranger has not eaten McDonald's in 25 years. Yeah, Mark Miller at Culver's, the pull forward moniker occurs for every drive-through. Yeah, Culver's is not designed for drive-through because they custom build everything. And I like Culver's. I like Culver's a lot. I've eaten at Culver's fairly recently. There's a few not far from me, and I like Culver's a lot. But I would never order drive-through because I would just be sitting in my car for half time. Johnny Knoxville says Detroit 75 Kitchen is 4.6 stars on Google. Okay. Belio says the best Detroit style pizza is here in Nashville. I'm not even sure. I've heard people talk about Detroit style pizza. I'm not even sure what they think that is. Johnny Knoxville will agree with me that the best Detroit pizza is Buddy's, which is a Detroit based chain or business. Bob Blah Blah says the drum solo in Agata Davida was what made the song great. I don't recall the drum solo. Oh boy. CJN 8730. I'm going back to bed. Gotta work tonight. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Good night. Jerry Dodge used to work at a Culver's. It indeed is not designed for drive-through. But you should know that going in, right? Stormtrooper is wearing an orange shirt today. Hiya, Steve. Janitor Bob, nearest McDonald's to me is 95 miles away. Wow. Mrs. Teresa, who lives over there in the Finger Lakes area of New York, I'm still hoping at some point we will get to meet with you. I appreciate that. One of these days I'll get over there again. MHOA, they've closed most Burger Kings in my area. Burger King's having some issues right now. They're trying some corporate restructuring. They've reconfigured their Whopper, but I know they've closed a lot of stores. I know they had a fight with one of the biggest franchisers in Michigan who wound up just saying, fine, I'm done with you guys. And there are a ton of closed Burger Kings, and I don't know if they'll come back or not. Johnny Knoxville, Bruddies is a must before you die. Lock Watcher, remember when McDonald's served pizza and Wendy's had the super bar? Yeah, they always try these wacky things just to see. And, McDonald's also had salads, I don't think they do anymore, do they? It's like, who goes to McDonald's for a salad? And they go, well, what if 3 people want to go out to eat and only one of them wants a salad? Well, okay, whatever. Belio, drum solos are narcissistic. There's always that big debate in the band, drum solo, guitar solo. I've seen the Allman Brothers play live, and famously they had 2 drummers. And there was a point in the show where they went into basically dueling drum solos. And I swear to God, everybody else on stage just left. And I think they all went home, raised families, changed careers, lived full and productive lives, and then came back and finished the show. The drum solos were crazy. Sports 2026. I love Burger Chef prices. Burger Chef. There's an old one for you. Taylor Bailey just made it now. Good afternoon, Steve. Good afternoon, Taylor. Jay Klein calls for more cowbell. More cowbell. I have got a turkey right there. You have to trust me on that because the camera's pointing the wrong direction. I just saw something big cross my field of vision. I'm like, oh, got a turkey. Usually, if there's one, there's more, but I only see one. But I had a raccoon run through my backyard yesterday morning. Oh, there's another. I had a fox run across my driveway the night before, and all kinds of stuff lately. Oh, yep, I got a herd of turkeys. Hang on. This never works, so let's try it again. Hang on. Okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, guys, pose. There you go. Okay. Can you see them? There we go. 5 turkeys. I'm trying to I don't want the glare on the screen. There we go. 5 turkeys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That might be all of them out there. Teddy Boragina, sounds like you live in a magical woodland. 246. There's 6 turkeys out there. Wait, 7. I've had up to 14 recently in one group. Oh, user is John Nowak Jr., in case you're curious. Yeah, Johnny Knoxville says that my next 5 Thanksgivings are taken care of. And don't forget, this is still early in the year. So a bunch of those turkeys are going to nest, and I'm going to see them later on in the summer running around with a bunch of youngsters. It'll get out of control. Johnny Knoxville, Arby's, beef and cheddar. Arby's is one of those places where I just go and sometimes I just go, just give me the roast beef sandwich. Just give me a couple of those, But yeah, beef and cheddar. Those can get messy to eat them while driving. Josh sees I once saw a bunch of turkeys chasing a deer and nipping at its heels. The thing is, a lot of bigger animals, it's not that they're scared of a turkey or something like that, but they just know that it's easier to run away than to deal with it. Yeah, 182QKFT. Funny that people think turkeys cannot fly because they roost in trees. Oh no, they do. And I've actually been sitting by the window and all of a sudden I saw a bunch of them go flying by. They don't fly well, but they can fly um, with a lot of effort. Oh, now the male strutting around with his feathers up. I'm gonna do play by play for my turkeys. Yolan True says turkeys eat ticks, which comes in handy. I agree. I've actually encountered ticks on my property. So anybody that comes in here to take care of them, fine with me. Sig226 says turkeys are the bumblebees of the bird world, which makes sense. Hey, L Potter's checking in from Durand, Michigan. Durand, Michigan. Durand, Michigan's a really cool little town. North of Detroit, kind of northwest of Flint or northeast of Lansing, sort of, maybe more east. There's a really cool train station out there. I love that little town. Drove through it just about a month ago. Yeah, Paul Thomas Harris says the wild turkeys are not the butterball commercial grown turkeys. They wouldn't be quite as delicious. Yeah. I don't know if I can get a picture of that or not right now. Hang on. If I get a picture of this, it'll be worth it. Hang on. Okay. I got it. I got the picture. I got the picture. Look at that guy. Hang, is there something I can do without so much glare? Anyways, he's doing the whole display, and some of the young ladies are checking him out. Hey, check that out. Yeah, El Potter, Durand is railroad town. MHOH says the food at the Detroit 75 kitchen looks good and a good value. Kurt, what you talking about, turkey? Jillian Siobhan, wow, impressive. Mark Miller, he's strutting. He's strutting. Twilight Child says there's no glare. Yeah, but the color was funky. I wish there was some easier way. I understand I could take it and transfer it and use some other software, but Paul Thomas here says turkeys roost in my trees at night away from predators. I don't see them roosting a lot, but I have seen them roosting before. Probably every 10th or 20th time I see them, they'll be either up in the bushes or in the low branches of trees. Mustang MG05 turkey hunting season starts April 18th. Steve can hunt from the window. Miko Angel says, I'm looking forward to you wearing the t-shirts I've sent you. I've sent two. They're both arrived in the P.O. box in the last couple of days. I didn't make it out there at the end of this week. I did get a couple new shirts recently, but I'm trying to think if they're all in the system yet or not. Steve Attenborough Lehto, the prodigal stranger. I like David Attenborough. He's good. Isaac Bob York, aren't they technically roosters then? I believe we considered a rooster turkey. Actually, I believe a male turkey is a tom. Jerry Dodge, I'm wearing shorts today for the first time this year. Dude, I think I was wearing them in January. If not, I was wearing them by February. James Milano, hi, Steve from Puebla. Sorry, I am late. No one's ever really late. If you show up, you're good. Mini driver need a playlist for my Cannonball run. A 2004 Mini with 295,000 miles. Literally driving cross country. It's hard to say. I do. I mean, I was a DJ. I played music all the time, but it depends on the setting and so on. The prodigal stranger hasn't worn shorts in 39 years. Okay. It's kind of funny. You'll almost never see me wearing a long sleeve shirt. I'm just going to let you know that right now. So if I wear a shirt with a tie and I take my jacket off, I roll my sleeves up. I just don't like the feeling of sleeves. And I'm sort of the same way about pants, where I mean, I'll wear long pants in the wintertime, but as soon as I can, I wear shorts. Bob blah blah points out that being late is only a concern when your girlfriend says it or your mistress. Oh, standard deviation Lehto is Mutual of Michigan. A.E. Zeldin Rust. Who else is here from Waynfleet, Ontario? Really? We're expecting other people from Waynfleet, Ontario? Who else here is just from Ontario? Ontario is a pretty large geographic area. Yeah, Twilight Child just says play Inagata Davida twice. That'll get you across the country. Teddy Boragina says he's from Midland, Ontario. Midland, Ontario. Sports 2026. I once bought airplane tickets in Roseville, Michigan. Well, there's no airport in Roseville, like for a travel agent or something. Doug Jones from Markham, Ontario. JP0924, hi from New York City. Mark Miller, I'm curious when older men wear knee socks, could it be because they're dealing with diabetic swelling? I don't know. I haven't been wearing knee socks for a while. Darkwood, Ontario, California. Oh, all the turkey. Oh no, the turkeys are all right over there. But there's one over there staying right in the corner of my vision. Martin Godinez, good morning from Los Angeles. Believe in Yourself is in Napanee, Ontario. 182, I've been to Chatham, Ontario. Well, I've been to Ontario millions of times. Windsor a lot. In fact, I'm going to Windsor again this summer at least once to see a show. 427 SS, hi from Mesa, Arizona. Would that 427 SS be a Nova or a Camaro or just an engine and a badge? Echo Track says it's National Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day. One of those holidays that not everyone honors. Shattering Illusions, morning from the desert in South Australia. Oh, that's cool. Sports 2026, I was a travel agent in Roseville, buy one, get one free. MH08 says that those socks could be to move the blood back up the legs. Back up the legs. Yeah, Shattering Illusions points out is tomorrow where they are. It's the 12th here in America, 13th in Australia. Fatima Butterpants, happy Turkey Day. Doug Jones says I have a small place I have a place in a small town in Ontario, Woodview. On the front of the sign, it says welcome. On the back of the sign, it says thanks for coming. And the old joke, of course, that it says the same thing on both sides, welcome to, welcome to. Oh, Dan Boyd says a 67 or 68 Impala SS was technically not an Impala, but a Chevrolet SS. Okay. Bob Blah Blah says he was told he should probably wear them compression socks, but he doesn't like them. Image Doc Ray, I haven't worn knee socks since Little League. The uniforms have changed in the last few years. I remember when Major League Baseball players still wore those funky socks with the stirrups at the bottom, and they don't wear those anymore, it seems. And there's no reason that they should have, but I remember in Little League and also in high school wearing those. Chris Beal says I wear compression socks, but not the extremely tight ones. Light compression seems to work. Bob Bong says it's 80 in Niles, Michigan. 80 right now? I got 68 right now. And hang on. Highest I'm getting today, according to this, is 75. So Bob Blah Blah said when he was in high school, the cops pulled him over and he's changing lanes. And I explained to him I was pulling up my knee socks. He laughed and said, okay. It's always good when you have a cop who's got a sense of humor. Mexican Spec. Hello, Steve. Hello, Mexican Spec. Fat Butter Pants. I wear a compression hat. A compression hat. Sig226 says that's a localized heat wave in Niles. Immortan Bob says it is not 80 in Muskegon. Muskegon is up the coast a ways from Niles. Yeah, the temperature can change a bit in that distance. 77 in Niceville, Florida. You can call me Al. Niceville. Seriously, they ran out of good names. They're like, okay, well, this place is nice. Well, we can't call it nice because then people are going to think of Nice, France. Okay, Niceville. That's a good American name, Niceville. Beasley, what a drag it is getting old. I wear compression socks at times too. Oh, boy. Bob Blah Blah, 81 in Amelia, Ohio. 81. It's not far from Cincinnati. Stormtrooper says he's going to the Cappy Bar in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where they have a capybara to pet and feed. Is that cool or what? Well, here's the deal. If you see capybaras in the wild, it's the world's largest rodent. And it looks kind of like a beaver, but without the tail. But there's something about the expression. They just look so smug. They're just like that. And you'll see like big families of them down like in the Amazon, in the rainforest. And they always look kind of disturbed. But I've never heard of one being available to pet or feed. That's pretty cool. Scott Bertram, howdy from Southern Oregon. Sunny with a few clouds. Tommy Boy, back in 1978, I accidentally passed an undercover cop, got pulled over. They just wanted to see my motor. I have a story which, if I'd heard it from anybody else, I wouldn't believe it. My brother Dave, who passed away a year ago, 2 Fridays back, had an SS 396 Camaro. And him and some of his friends went to Florida. They drove down there in that Camaro and they drove back. And they're driving through Ohio at like 2 o'clock in the morning, some ungodly hour. And somebody said, hey, how fast will this thing go? And my brother just opened it up wide, just screaming up I-75. And a cop pulls out and pulls him over. And my brother, of course, pulls over immediately and does everything he's supposed to do. But, you know, when you're doing more than 100, I don't care where you are. Cop goes, do you know how fast you're going? My brother goes, yes, I do. And he goes, why were you going so fast? And my brother said, we've been driving this car for 5 days straight and it started running rough. And I was thinking that perhaps there's a carbon buildup. The cop starts laughing. He goes, are you serious? And my brother goes, yeah, I am. And he's like, what do you got? And they actually got out and they talked about the motor for a while. And the cop goes, just slow down, let him go. Now, if anybody else told me that story, I wouldn't believe it. My brother Dave told it to me. And I know the 3 people he's with who all still to this day talk about trying to decarbon their engines. Fatty Butter Pants, nice beaver from the Naked Gun, of course. Sig226 had a 67 Camaro RS convertible back in the late 90s. It only had a 327. That's a funny thing. Back in the day, we thought like a 327 or a 318. We're like, oh, that's such a small motor. You know. Yeah, it's Sig226, an Italian tune-up. Nick Bradley in Michigan, it can be 15 degrees below zero, and I'll win $5 off my wife every time when I bet we will see someone in short pants at Meyer. Always, always. Jerry Dodge once went past a cop doing 90 and a 65 at 2 in the morning, and the cop pulled out, but he slowed down, and the cop just let him go. He may have had someplace else to go, or he may have just said, okay, you slow down. Bob Blah Blah once got a ticket when he actually was trying to unstick a gas tank float, and he ended up going way too fast. The cop didn't believe him that he's trying to fix his gas gauge. Probably the same cop that pulled my brother over. He's probably like, I've heard this one before. Oh, boy. Tommy Boy says the 327 was a great motor. No, of course, it was a great motor. But there's a time when people are just concerned about the size. I mean, a 327 is nice, but a 455 is nicer, right? 454, take your pick. SIG 226, it's 83 here, just outside of Nashville. Doug Jones, I've seen people with bare feet and sandals walking in the snow. Josh Holman, good afternoon, and to one and all as well. To one and all. It's like each and every, right? The turkeys have finally wandered off. Sports 2026. My brother drove a 68 Camaro. Unfortunately, he hit a cemented mailbox while trying to flee the cops. Jerry Dodge, old buddy of mine, always wore basketball shorts in the winter, then complained about the cold. No, see, the key is you wear the shorts and you just act like nothing's out of the ordinary. You're not cold. Why would it be cold? I also played soccer in high school. And in Michigan, soccer season runs into a time when it could snow. And I remember being on the field when it was snowing in a soccer game. And I'm like, okay, kick the ball to me, but keep it low. I'm not heading that ball today. I'm not going to hit that ball with my head all day today because it would hurt. You're running around there in shorts. You could put something on underneath your top, but you could not put on anything over your legs. Chief FC says, I once didn't get a ticket while going 20 over because as the cop came up, someone passed us like we were in their way. When he decided to go after them instead. I've actually gotten out of two. Well, I don't know. I would have gotten tickets, but on two different occasions, I had a police officer talking to me. I'm a friendly guy. And actually say, I just got a call. I got to go. And one guy actually said, it's your lucky day and left. And nothing crazy, but I got lucky. SIG 226, this Camaro had a 2-speed power glide. 2-speed. Sports 2026, soccer was almost non-existent in the USA when I was young. It depends on where you were. I mean, I remember seeing kids playing soccer. It depends. I'm sure some parts of the country is more popular than others. Let's put it that way. John Michael Karmas is the one and only running a stop sign ticket I got. I came to a full and complete stop. Yeah, I've known people who've said things like that as well, and makes you wonder. But in my case, I'll tell you the story. To get to Oakland Mall from where I used to live, I would come in on the north side of it, and so I'm coming from the west, and you come to this intersection and turn right, but there is no you can't turn left. It's a T stop there. Okay. And so you're coming down a mile road to a light, and then you hang a right. And I had people in the car with me. We were talking, and I'm rolling up on this light, and the light's about to turn red, and there's no cars anywhere. No, there's no cars behind me. No cars that way because there's no road over there. There's no cars that way. And so I slowed down, but not enough, but I just rolled through the light. And as I come around the corner, there's a cop car parked right there, and all he's doing is watching that light. I'm like, really? And so I pulled right over, and he walks up the car, and it was in my Jeep, my old Jeep Wrangler they had back in the day. And as I'm pulling out my information, I hear his radio squawk, and he looks at me and goes, "It's your lucky day. See ya," and walked away. I'm like, "Whoa, I'll take it." But it's not like I almost killed somebody, you know? Byron Perry, I played soccer in the late 70s. I mean, I remember seeing kids play soccer in the 60s. King Too Tall K. What the hell did I just come into? Just telling a story. Keg 4998 had been pulled over for 15 to 20 over like 5 times, twice in Michigan and Lansing. I was going 87 and 60 in the snow. Never gotten a speeding ticket. Okay? Don't press your luck. That will not last forever. Mark Miller says allegedly, Steve. No, statute of limitations ran years ago. SIG 226, is it even possible to drive without committing some kind of violation? It's possible, but most people do speed by a couple miles per hour, or they don't come to a 100% planted stop at a stop sign, that kind of thing, you know? Chris Harder, if they don't want us to speed, why do they make the cars go faster than the speed limit? Well, it's because the car companies don't care if you speed. Fag Butterpants not stopping behind the sign yet, and there's often a line there, and you got to stop behind that line. And they call that a stop bar. If you don't stop behind that, it doesn't matter if you stop. You stop too late. Bob Blah Blah points out that the speed limit signs could actually be just suggestions if they don't have the word limit in them. User, have you ever gone to Ionia, Michigan? Ionia? Is that what you're talking about? I've been there a few times, but it's way over on the other side of the state from me. Nick Bradley says he recited the alphabet backwards to a cop after making an illegal U-turn. Most people couldn't do that sober unless they had it in front of them that could read it. It's one of those things that most people haven't ever learned. I've known people who did it as a joke, like memorize the alphabet backwards, just be funny. But Arts 4014, did you notice that you're up to 625,000 subscribers? Did I notice? Hang on. Did I notice? Yes, I did. I screen grabbed it. And the funny part about that is I woke up this morning, turned my phone on, went to my homepage, and it goes 625,000. I screen grabbed it, hit it again, 625,001. somebody else, subscribed like 30 seconds later. So Sports 2026. So if you drive 55 in the left lane on interstate with a speed limit of 55, can you get a ticket? Theoretically, yes, because they can say that you're somehow obstructing traffic. Now, you can get into theoretical argument going, but people can't drive faster than I was driving. But, you know. Chris Beal says he's good at making the cop feel sorry for him and giving him a warning. Oh. Mexican Spec wants to rain on your parade. Says the sub count doesn't mean much, though. There are only 268 people in here. Yeah, but live streams are different than my daily videos. Or are you just challenging me on that? Because now I'm curious. Mexican Specs got 2,500 subscribers. William Harol, tell everyone about the picture frame you got last week. You mean the frame right there? I've mentioned it once already today, but I did an entire video on it on my second channel, which you can go and watch where I explain it. Lewis Browning, did you get the other 5 dimes? No, I have not. They might be there. I mentioned earlier I did not get the post office towards the end of the week. Arts 4014, can we have a yard wildlife report? I just did one. I had 6 turkeys in the yard about an hour ago, half hour ago. Bob Blah Blah says you can drive as fast as you want as long as you have a box of donuts on the passenger seat. Oh, boy. Steve G, has anyone here not been pulled over? I've actually known people who never were. I've actually had clients who are older than me go, I've never been pulled over. I'm like, but it depends on where you drive, how fast you drive, what kind of car you're driving, all that stuff. All that stuff plays into it. Arts 4014, are the dandelions blooming yet? No, they are not. In fact, the grass just turned green, and I've got some basic tiny little plants popping up. So, there are buds on the trees and so on. Idris Taylor's never been pulled over. I pity the fool's been pulled over twice this year, but both times got warnings. There you go. Jason Brinemauer, I rarely get pulled over, but I run an updated Fuzzbuster. Because I've mentioned before, I've had a few tickets in my life. Nothing crazy. I've never lost my license or anything like that. But the last time I've told the stories about the last 2 times I got pulled over, I didn't get tickets. And the second time was a cop who said, I'm just looking for drunk drivers. See ya. I mean, but the last ticket I got was, I believe, 16 or 17 years ago. So I haven't had a ticket in 17 years. So I'll take that. I am or something, since I've never been pulled over, but I also never driven a car either. That would make it kind of hard, wouldn't it? Nick Bradley, daffodils, crocuses, and the cherry trees budding. I've got some very, very small buds starting to show up on some of the plants in my yard and so on. I actually planted 9 trees yesterday. I ordered some trees from a nursery and I planted them yesterday, including 3 white pines that are about this tall that are kind of cool looking. They'll be even cooler about 200 years from now if they survive that long. Mark Miller's got a second cousin who was a police officer in Michigan in 35 years, never had to brandish. That's a good thing. Yeah, no, there are some departments where they, the biggest problems they've got are the local town drunk and so on. Arts 4014, to me, spring hasn't truly arrived until dandelions. Well, what's funny is I don't mind dandelions. I know people who hate them, who spray their yards for them. You know something? They're there for like a week and a half and then they're gone. Who cares? Who cares? And the bees like them. So I do not do anything about dandelions. I don't care. Jerry Dodge, my brother, was pulled over once for speeding on his bicycle going down a hill, clocked at 35 to 25. But he's actually issued a citation, because I've had people ask me about that. I've never known anybody who got ticketed on a bicycle for a moving violation. And but I've been on a bicycle that was speeding many times. It just depends on where you are, how hard it is to get your bike up that fast. Josh sees my buddy got a ticket for jaywalking in Vienna. Nick Bradley, pines are fickle. Good luck. I've got some white pines on my property already, but I ordered these from a nursery. They're 3 or 4 years old, and I planted them yesterday. And we've had a lot of rains. The ground is nice and wet. I found some good spots for them, so we'll see. I also planted 3 oak trees and 3 paper birch trees, so we'll just see if they make it. I planted a bunch of trees last year, and deer killed most of them. Deer killed most of them. Jerry Dodge says, yes, he got a ticket on his bicycle. Okay. Sig226, Vienna calling. Falco? Mitch, it's now mud season here in the UP. My driveway will be a small creek for a while. But you still have snowbanks, right? I talked to somebody a couple days ago, and they said they had like a 15-foot snowbank in front of their house still, just, a week or two ago. William Harrell, my brother got one doing 45. You mean 45 on a bicycle? Fast of it, my bicycle going is a little over 50, 51 or 52. That's a mountain bike. But Belio, do you have one of those big drills to the back of your tractor when tree planting? No, these trees aren't that big. Dan Boyd, vines are a danger to trees and will strangle them if left unchecked. Yes, I've talked about the wild grapevines. I've got them on my property. I've got wild grapevines. I'm not making this up on my property. That the trunk is that big around. It is so big that I bring out the long-handled clompers and can't cut through them. And I've actually had to bring a chainsaw out to cut some of them. But whenever I'm on my property, I carry a pair of shears with me. And I found some just the other day, and I clip and I've cleared. I bet if you took all the vines I've cut end to end, I've probably cleared like thousands of miles of vines on my property. Bob, blah, blah. Did you get your zero turn? No, not yet. I was pricing them the other day. I went into my local dealer, and it's one of those things where the one I want to get's probably more than I need to spend. But we'll see. I haven't got it yet, but I will. I haven't mowed my lawn yet this year. It hasn't gotten to that point yet. Image Doc Ray got pulled over walking at 9 years old, carrying a pellet gun. Yeah, things were different when we were little kids. I mean, I remember running around with a BB gun and riding a mini bike and stuff. And nowadays, it's like, I can't do that. You can call me Elsa's more than you want to spend is always the case in my book as well. Steve G is at kudzu. No. In Michigan, it's wild grapevines. And they are invasive species. I don't know how they got here, but they have really, really big leaves, and they climb all over stuff. And if you don't kill them, I know where there are oak trees that are 100 feet tall that were killed by grapevines. And the sad part is they're so easy to kill because you walk up and just clip them. It can be all the way up the tree. Just clip it. Within a day, the leaves fall off, and a little later on, the vine falls off. And people don't bother clipping them. And then they're like, oh, look at those vines. It's like, you could fix that in 10 minutes. Just don't be lazy. Standard deviation, get the zero turn with a Hemi. Josh sees my neighbor on one side has an untended acre, and his wild grapevines keep climbing my trees. Go to the property line. Because what I'm looking to do is I already have a lawn tractor that's got a pretty wide cut on it. But I want to get something that moves faster with a wider cut for the big open areas, and then I can cut the edges with the tractor. People are saying that I've left and I've come back. I apologize. Nothing's changed at my end, and there you go. MHOH says they had to change the mile marker 420 to 419 point something so people wouldn't steal it. Oh, dude, let's go grab that 420 sign, man. Oh, so what? Checking in from the lower Hudson Valley. Happy Sunday and warmish April. And to you, my friend. Belio, many of those invasive species were someone's misplaced good intentions, like kudzu here and the cane toad in Australia. Oh, there have been all kinds of ones. They purposely introduce something and then later, like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that. And there is I always call it elephant grass, but that's not what it's officially called. But there's a form of grass. It's taken over southeastern Michigan, down the sides of the roads, where you have this grass that grows like 10 feet tall. And every year it comes back and it gets thicker and spreads. And it's crazy. And that was brought in as an ornamental plant. Like some idiot brought it in like 30 years ago. Now it's everywhere. Taekwondo guy on Young Ashmika. Stormtrooper 88 cut the base. Yeah, it's like it is. Clip it once. Clip it once. Image Doc Ray, why not just hire a neighbor kid to cut your lawn? One, neighbor kids don't do that anymore. And number two, I enjoy cutting my lawn. Nick Bradley says, bruh, grab the mile 69. Yeah, there's an exit on exit 69 for Big Beaver Road in Michigan. Everybody knows that one on I-75. Davo, I love to ride in your Viper. Thank you. I appreciate that. Put a video up on my second channel. Went for a ride in the Viper with a camera. Lupe Carbajal, did your Cobra come with a warranty when you bought it new? Yes, it did. The car itself came with a warranty from Backdraft Cobra, Backdraft Racing, and the engine and drivetrain came with a warranty basically through Roush from Ford Motor Company, because it's a Ford designed engine and transmission, but upgraded by Roush. But haven't needed that at all. So Mexican spec neighbor kids don't need money to sit in their house playing video games. And you know, the sad part is that when I was a little kid, I used to mow lawns, rake leaves, shovel snow, and deliver newspapers for spending money. And you know, nowadays kids don't do that. So Bob Lablas, your Viper ride camera was on a rotating spin, very unusual. Well, Bob, and I'm not sure if I've talked about this before, but it's not sure where. It's a camera called an Insta360, and the camera is fixed and did not move the entire time. It was locked in place in my car. But when you bring it into the studio, in the program, you can rotate the camera around however you want to. So while I'm talking, I'd point it at myself, or I'd point it out the front window, or if I saw something go by, I'd point it that way. That was all done later. It was all done later. But it's an amazing piece of equipment. I love using that thing. So getting a lot of complaints about the audio. Sorry about that. There's nothing I can do. I'm just doing what I can here. John Zabelek, I can't mow 55. Dan Boyd, I pushed a Toro around a lot in high school with a Walkman. I remember walking behind a lawnmower, and then my family bought one that was self-propelled. It seemed like it was the greatest thing ever. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. You know, and it wasn't until I was an adult that I owned a snowblower. And I have one of them. I have a 3-stage snowblower that literally throws the snow so far that I don't even know where it goes. A different time zone. So Rex Foucher, don't blame the kids, blame the parents. Well, it's a little of everything, you know, but Steve G, get a skid steer. I don't have that much stuff to move. DePaul, it looked like you had the drone hovering the seat next to you. Yeah, and if you saw on my same channel, a backup channel, second channel, I've got video I shot walking around with the camera. Same thing. It looks like there's a drone flying around me, but it's just the way the camera works. It's just modern technology is amazing. It really is. Jerry Dodger used to drive a Rolls Harley. Rolls down one hill and Harley makes up next. Scott Bertram reports the audio is fine, buffered for a second a while back. I think it actually depends on things not at this end, but someplace further downstream, which would affect some people, not others. Standard deviation throws the snow onto your neighbor's yard. KC, Jimmy, these days, injured juvenile worker in your yard, prepare for legal action. Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable, for instance, like telling a kid he'd use my mower on my yard. I would be too paranoid about that. Stormtrooper, as a kid, I did the paper, yards. I mean, like 300 bucks a month. Had to have junk food money and quarters of video games. Yeah, yeah. Nick Bradley, a 3 stage. Yeah, I always forget how they count the stages, but there's there's the there's the thing that pulls it in and the thing that shoots it, or the thing that then the thing that, like, I guess, chops it, dices and slices it, and there's a thing that throws it. But yeah, it's a 3 stage. Yeah, the prodigal stranger says, yeah, give a kid a chainsaw. Oh boy. You haven't had the chainsaws out this year yet either, but it's coming real soon. I've got some cleanup work I got to do. I've had a couple trees that came down a few storms back, and I've also found some stuff I want to take down with my brush cutters. So Darkwood, the kid down the street expects 200 bucks to mow my lawn. Jason Brindamar, don't let people borrow your chainsaw. Liability, and plus they're going to mess up the chain. Oh no, there's certain things you can't lend. And you don't ask either. You know, can I borrow your chainsaw? I don't know. Can I borrow your girlfriend? I mean, uh, Steve G is a native Southern Californian. I'd always wanted to run a snowblower. I'll tell you right now, I the first couple times of the year, I look forward to it. To me, it's fun. I spent so much time shoveling snow. I have bad memories of it. And when I wake up in the morning and there's a nice 5 inches of powder on my driveway with no wind, I'm like, yes. And I just throw that snow. It is so much fun. Arts 4014 says, I hated the self propelled mowers from the 70s. Little wheels you engaged bogged the mower down, um, the engine, and went too slow. Mine was okay, but the ones I didn't like was when they started putting all safety features on them. They're like, you get the mower running, but then once to get it moving, you gotta grip this handle. It's dead man switch. And so you always have one hand on it. It's like, I'm behind it, okay? The odds of me running myself over with this mower are pretty slim. And those are the kinds of safety features that people are gonna, work around. So Scott Bertram, I'd lend you my girlfriend long before my chainsaw. That's how most guys are about their chainsaws. King Too Tall says, you're the jerk neighbor that we all have to watch have fun while we shovel. No, believe it or not, my next door neighbor's got a snowblower, and the other guy's got a tractor with a blade on it. So he looks at me like I'm a poor guy. He's got to walk behind that snowblower, but yeah, we all get along. Doug Jones's wife won't let him buy a riding mower because she says that's the only exercise he gets. Yeah, I've got a riding mower, but I also cover a lot of ground with it. HC Healthman ski goggles are a necessary snowblowing accessory. I usually just wear a hat, and if the snow is coming at me, I put my head down and change the angle of the thing. Arts 4014, I deleted the safety features, so no problem. That's the thing is that sometimes you're looking at it going, I think this is a little bit overkill. Ginny C has checked in saying I wouldn't lend my chainsaw to my husband. He even used the chainsaw to work on a stump. Chainsaws aren't grinders. Yeah, people who misuse tools are always a little bit of a problem. Prodigal Stranger says you saw a kid on TikTok wondering why we don't have phones that aren't cell phones, like, landlines, which, by the way, we still have. It's just a question of whether you want one or not. Mexican Spec has nothing to add to the snowblower conversation. Oh, of course. That's some parts of the world have no need for snowblowers because it has one job and one job only. MH Joyce is when I retire, I'll be going back to a landline. Yeah, just get a hand, a telewalkie, cordless. Nacho Kitty gas cans are the worst. You can't get the gas out. I actually, I bought one of those gas cans that's got the funky safety button on it. Didn't work. I went back to the store, bought one of those temporary replacement nozzles, which means it works fine now. So I was at the store where I bought my chainsaws. It's a local dealer. I love the people there. And I saw they had a big 5-gallon gas can with a push button on it. And I go, does that thing work? And he goes, yes. I go, dude, don't mess with me. I almost said a bad word. I go, don't mess with me. I've bought gas cans with buttons and switches and stuff on them that don't work. If I buy that and it doesn't work, you've lost all my business. The guy goes, that works. I guarantee it. Take it to the gas station, put 5 gallons of gas in it, put it down, go to my, I forgot I was putting gas in the first time, flipped it up, press the button, it works. Unpress the button, it stops. Like, whoa, it works. It's amazing how you have to get so worried about whether or not something's going to work or not. Josh Holman, all of us misuse tools. Well, there's a certain amount of tool misuse. I mean, you can take a hammer and a screwdriver, right? but you don't take like your drill and beat on a screwdriver with it. So, I guess it's like primary and secondary and so on. Tom Tuttle, have you tried blowing leaves with your snowblower? I'm lucky in the sense that I don't have to rake my leaves. I don't have leaves that get in my way. I let nature take its course with leaves. I mow them and just let them go. Belius is hitting a rock with your chainsaw could cause curse words to come out automatically. I've never hit a rock with my chainsaw. Dan Boyd, the worst is misusing a tool to struggle through a job when I'm too lazy to walk 15 feet and grab the proper tool. My biggest problem is that I'll often be using my ratchets and I don't work on stuff enough to where I can look at, oh, that's a 5/8. That's a 9/16. I can't do that. So I got to sit there and too small, too big until I find the right one. And then I never bother to go back and put them all back in their places. So I've got a pile of ratchets sitting on top of an open ratchet case. So, standard deviation, ever hit a nail with your chainsaw? No, I have not. I have not. Elliot Polach checks in. Good afternoon, Mr. Steve Lehto, Esquire. Thank you for checking in, my friend. Good to hear from you. Nick Bradley says a guy from Mythbusters wrote a book entitled "Every Tool Is a Hammer," and vice versa. Ryan, haven't you ever used a crescent hammer? No, but I've got a bunch of good hammers though. So Jerry Dodge recently used a 4-foot level as a pry bar and damaged it. Oh boy. KC Jimmy says out here in the West, we've got issues with chainsaws versus trees that were used as fence posts. Yeah, because they'd have nails in them and possibly wire. And you got to be careful about that. Because obviously if you hit a big piece of metal and it comes flying out of there real fast, depending which way it's going, it could get ugly. King Tool talk. Steve can never borrow my sockets. No, but I've got all the sockets I need. They're just just disorganized. Oh boy. Sports 2026. A high school kid used an axe on a big piece of wood and got a blinding splinter in his eye. Wear safety goggles. That's the one thing I have safety glasses. I wear them all the time whenever I'm working on anything that could hurt me like that. And I can tell you that a friend of mine had an uncle, Uncle Bob, and Uncle Bob had an eye patch the entire time I knew him. And asked somebody once what happened. And Uncle Bob was out in the garage one day pounding nails in, and he hit one funny, and it bounced up and hit him in the eye. And it blinded him, and he wore a patch for the rest of his life. So, it's crazy how stuff like that can happen. I've got a brother who has a machine shop and a bunch of machine equipment and told me he's been wearing safety goggles before and had a piece of metal come flying off a lathe. I think it was a lathe and stick right in his glasses where he takes the glasses off and it's stuck right there. Like it was coming for his eye. So in his case, he had the glasses on. MHOH, should I get a 5-gallon or 8-gallon compressor for household use? I don't know. I don't have a compressor. Codemeister Beats spent $400 getting a speck removed from his eyes. Wow. Arts 4014 wants pics of chainsaw chaps, which I'm never going to get, so you'll never get a picture, at least not of mine. Oliver Leno. Hi, Stephen. Coming to you from Finland. Have you heard of a recent case here where a sitting parliament member was found guilty of calling homosexuality a mental illness? She got fined. I did not hear that. I will look that up. I do try to follow Finnish stories, as my ancestry, as you might guess, is Finnish. Last name Lehto, or Lehto. But I will take a look at that. Belia, wood in your eyes worse than steel. Yeah, that's number one. You can't pull it out the magnet. Number two, wood's got some weird issues with splinters and so on. Sports 2026. Never ride a snowmobile through people's snow-filled backyards. There are hidden dangers. Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that you might run into if you're not familiar with the property. Blah, blah, blah. Would you wear chainsaw shorts? I will wear long pants when work calls for it. So I'm often wearing long pants when I'm out in my yard running a chainsaw, a brush cutter, a line trimmer, even running I've got a steel hedge trimmer. Anything that's throwing stuff around, I'll wear the long pants, especially if I'm working near brush. I've got poison ivy and poison oak on my property and stuff like that. I don't like having on my skin. And so I get covered in that stuff and I walk in the house immediately straight in the washing machine. So Sig226 says chips coming off a lathe can be very hot. I got many a burn from them over the years. Yeah, I think this was a piece of aluminum. But yeah. Frank JC says when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. That is a famous saying and is absolutely true. Slight variations on it. when you have your hammer, when you have a hammer in your hands, the world looks like a nail. Ian Gotti says poison ivy is an endangered species. Not where I am. John Michael Carmen, you got to wear safety glasses when weed whacking. I've taken many stones to the face. Oh no, that's the scary part is how often you do get hit in the face with stuff. And you're like, how am I getting hit in the face up here? And my the guys who sold me my my trimmer, it's not a weed whacker, but he goes because I hate having to re-thread it, to restring it. The guy goes, stop using that cheap stuff. And he got me this stuff. It's wire infused line. So it's plastic wrapped wire. It lasts 10 times as long. It is so good. But of course, it means that it's hitting stuff and busting up heavier stuff. Shrapnel everywhere. Dan Boyd, wonder what would happen if we rendered poison ivy extinct. The weird part is that you don't want to necessarily eradicate a plant entirely, because there might be some use for it, but I just don't want it, near my feet when I'm walking around outside near my house. Yeah, I am something says every machine is a smoke machine if you use it right. I did a book where I was interviewing some scientists a long time ago, and the guy was telling me about some of the side projects he worked on. And at one point, he's talking about exploding bullets, and I said, "Exploding bullets," and he goes, "Oh, you can make anything explode if you know what you're doing." Elliot Polach, do you happen to remember what brand and where you got that steel, long-lasting weed eater twine? No, I don't. Um, I'm wondering if I do a quick search on Amazon, if I can find it, I'll recognize it because it's not steel branded. Um, hmm. I don't see it. I just asked for weed trimmer line. I see a bunch of things similar to it, but like for instance, Husqvarna makes a thing very similar to what I'm talking. It actually looks a lot like it, but I know mine's not Husqvarna. I'd remember that. But there's several companies that make it. Just go to Amazon or someplace like that and look up, heavy duty trimmer line, and you'll find the stuff that's plastic coated wire, and it's better than the bright day glow plastic stuff that they sell. Jay Klein says, look in your past orders. I didn't get it from Amazon. I bought it from the dealer. Steve G, I like that you enjoy property management. Well, it's my own property. So I enjoy owning property. I like walking around. I like mowing the lawn. I like planting trees. DePaul says, I just saw a turkey outside the window in my driveway in Staten Island. I'm thinking it could be one of mine. How fast can they fly? Aviva Rabinowitz killed the poison ivy by dumping salt on top of it. Just don't expect anything else to grow there. Yeah, that's the problem. You just got to, what you got to do is you got to cut it back. And of course, be careful when you're cutting it back. But if you can cut it down to the point where you can mow over it, it'll eventually be gone. Yeah, Dan Boyd says there are different strengths of trimmer line too. Heavy duty is what you want, if not the metal. Image Doctor, I've seen trimmer heads that use bicycle chains. I've also just seen some that take like what looks like a wire brush and puts it on there. I mean, you can get all kinds of stuff. I do want something that won't actually, like, I don't know, if I accidentally hit something, destroy it, that I didn't want to hit. Sorry about the joke about turkeys. We talked about turkeys about half an hour ago. Yeah, Mitch says never burn poison ivy. That especially not if you're downwind breathing hard, inhaling it. Oh boy. So yeah, Tyler Pasquale says pay attention to the pictograms on your trimmer spool. Some or most manufacturers say to soak the line in water. Yeah, you should see the pictograms and warnings on my wood chipper. I was convinced I'd bought nothing but a block of metal covered in warnings. Jay Klein, I used a 3-bladed trimmer that would cut down small trees. Well, I've got a brush cutter with a big old steel buzz saw on it that does that. And I used to get the little heads that come out, but I now divide the jobs between those two tools. Lewis Browning points at Oregon 22-095 Gator line. It's one of the ones I just saw now on Amazon that looked appropriate. Frank JC the third says I live in condo now. Haven't had to mow anything in 13 years. And don't get me wrong, it's a great way to go also. Oliver Lano asked a great question about civil law versus common law, but unfortunately, it's 3:00. We've been doing this for now over 2 hours. And for some odd reason, my thing's not showing the time up here, which normally it does. So once again, they've changed something on me. So that's going to wrap it up for me now. I will see you guys like I always do on my main channel, 10 o'clock in the mornings, except for Sundays, 11. Backup channel at least once on Friday. And next Sunday, I'll see you doing the live stream. Yeah, it should be good. Until then, behave yourself. Bye-bye.